I'm going to design and build a simple desk, or a small table, for my father-in-law to use as a laptop desk. For this desk, I'm going to try to use some of the oak I already have surfaced in the shop. I started off by taking all the boards I could find out of the storage rack and sorting them by size. Most of these boards were planed and have a straight edge on one side, so S3S to the woodworkers. I started off making cuts on the table saw to make sure they're totally straight. These boards are going to make up the desktop. After everything is squared up, I played around with which boards looked the best beside each other. I found the grain pattern I liked the most and marked them for rough size. The top is going to be 24 inches wide and 36 inches long. I'm going to leave them a little oversized for now. I put some tape on them to make sure I didn't lose track of the order and started marking for the dominoes to join things up. I glued them up 2 at a time and then let them dry in between and then put all of them together. After getting everything joined up, I started with the legs. I didn't have boards thick enough to make the legs, so I'm going to rough cut them to width and double them up. I'm hoping the outside of the legs ends up being book matched to make a pretty pattern. So I matched them up and glued each pair of boards to make them roughly a 2 by 2 inch board. While that's drying, I'm going to cut the top to the final length with this track and my portable circular saw. After that's done, I put everything away. Almost everything in the shop has a place, and usually that place is labeled. I've spent a whole lot of hours in my life looking for tools, and I'm really trying to make things easier to find. After drying, one of these join boards is a little off, so I ran it through the planer to make sure the outside face is flat. I'm going to try to cut tapered legs for the first time. I know of 2 ways to go about this, and I was on the fence which one. First, I made a laser cut template that I could use to mark out the lines. I knew that I could cut the legs to a rough shape outside that line with the bandsaw, then use the flush trim bit on the router to clean them up. What I ended up doing was making a sliding jig for the table saw. I learned 2 lessons on this for the next time. First, 3D printed sliders for the slot in my table saw work pretty well. There's really no need to make them so short. Next time I'll make them much longer than I did this time. Most of the issues I had with the sliding because I didn't line up all the small things exactly. Second is never make a slit again out of MDF, at least not one that needed to be screwed and unscrewed multiple times. The screws kept pulling themselves out. My plan was to taper the legs on 2 sides, and the jig worked pretty well. Next, I cut the desktop to its final width of 24 inches. I'm going to add a strong bevel on the underside of the top. I'm going to do that on my table saw in a somewhat sketchy manner. The best I can say for this method is it's better than what I tried last time. I ran the top through the table saw vertically. I've done this in the past, trying to just use the fence to keep things straight up and down, and it mostly worked. This time was a little better as I screwed on this board to the fence to make it much taller. I had much more support to try to keep things in line. After a lot of sanding, it was time to rough cut the apron pieces to make the bottom of the desk. Normally in this I would have made a small drawer, but this one was requested without a drawer, since he has plenty of storage near the desk. I cut these parts to the rough length and laid them out to make sure it looked right proportionally. I'm going to join everything with the domino. I did a quick test with a scrap piece of the leg to make sure the spacing was good, and then cut all the domino holes. I did mostly a good job. 3 of the legs were great, and 1 had a domino mortise in the wrong side. Bummer. So I had to try to make a patch, and I put way too much effort into this step, but it felt worth it in the end. I tried to find a piece of wood with the grain running in the same direction as the leg, and then rough cut the shape of the mortise with the bandsaw. Then I slowly shaped it down with the belt sander. I even back cut it slightly to be a little wedge shaped so I could hammer it into the hull with no gaps. Then, after letting the glue dry, I put some tape on the surface to try to not cause any additional damage when I cut the plug off with the Japanese pull saw. Then I sanded off the rest flush with the leg, and oh my goodness, it worked! I didn't have high hopes, but that was awesome. There were a few bug holes in the top, so I filled these in with a mixture of glue and sawdust from the offcuts. Then I added some spar varnish to the top. I really like the color of the oak with this finish. Then it was decision time. Tiny feet or no feet on the legs. We decided the tiny feet would be nice jewelry for the table. The top was not yet attached to the bottom. That's going to be done with these little figure 8 shaped brackets that should allow the top to expand and contract with the seasons and hopefully not crack the desktop. I routed in a small pocket for them, then attached them to the bottom, crawled underneath to screw them to the top. Then everything got a few more coats of finish just to make sure everything is well sealed. And we've got a desk or a small table. It was a hit though. Here it is in place. That's it for this week. See you in the next one.